This is a bit off the cuff because I don't have any questions or anything. Right. Well, I'm backstage at Bloodstock again with another member of Amon Amarth. Could you introduce yourself to the audience, please?
Yeah, my name is Johan Hegg. I'm the vocalist of Amon Amarth.
Right. Well, can you? Amon Amarth have been around for quite a while.
Yeah.
Well, can you tell me how you originally started off?
Well, for me, it was. I don't really know what happened. I was drunk and I was singing along to some metal tunes at a bar in Greece, and the two guitar players at the time in 1992 were there with me, and they needed a new singer to the band, which at the time was called Scum, and that's how I started off. And then we had some members leave and new members come in, and it sort of became a new band. So that's sort of when it became Amon Amarth, really. So yeah, and we've been around for 17 years now.
Now, as a singer, who are your influences? Or actually, just who do you like?
Yeah, I think that's the better way to say it. Because I mean, it's more been inspirations, I think. But it's singers that I grew up listening to, like James Hetfield, Tom Araya, Ozzy Osbourne, of course, big influence. But also Bruce Dickinson, and Paul Di'Anno was also one of my favorites, actually. Speaking of Maiden, so yeah,
that's not somebody who most people would actually put down as an influence. So that's a bit.
I love the two first Maiden albums, and I kind of like his vocals are not really polished. It's just I love it, and of course Lemmy from Motorhead, and even Eric Adams from Manowar. The first 5 or 6 Manowar albums are just brilliant. So yeah, it's there's a lot of singers out there that I enjoyed listening to when I grew up, and that's sort of what inspired me to become a singer myself, even though I never thought I'd be a death metal singer, but you know.
Now, a lot of your songs are based in either Norse mythology or actual Norse history. Any insights into why you decided to go that way?
From the beginning, I guess it was, we wrote a lot of different stories and other lyrics, but nothing really felt good. And then I said, fuck it, let's do some Viking lyrics, because that was a big interest of mine. And I had an idea for one song, really, one lyric, and that turned out pretty cool. So I guess we all felt it was something that we all were interested in, that we could stand for, and that sort of became the theme of the band. But from the start, it wasn't really intentional. It was just, the first time was just supposed to be the theme for one album, but then it kind of stuck. So, and now it's hard to get out of it.
Yeah, well, let's see. On the title of the last album and main track on it was Twilight of the Thunder God, dealing with Thor's last fight with the Midgard Serpent. Have you any thoughts of doing any other stories from the Battle of Ragnarok? Like, for example, I don't know, the fight between Fenris and Odin, for example.
Yeah, I mean, we've done a few actually. The fight between Fenris and Odin is on versus the World in a way. It's down the slopes of death, and but it's not specifically about that. It's more stuff involved in it as well. But it's there's a lot of stuff from the Norse mythology that we kind of still want to take up, but it's a question of finding the right song for the right story, and it's not always easy.
Now, you seem to have come to the fore as a band, well, actually fairly recently. Over the past 3 or 4 years, suddenly Amon Amarth were turned up everywhere.
Yeah.
I mean, can you put that down to anything?
Well, here in the UK, it's definitely that way. The last 2 albums really brought us to a new level here in the UK. I mean, before those, we were virtually nothing here. So, yeah, it's true in that sense. Although we've had huge success in Central Europe, especially Germany, Switzerland, Austria before, and also a certain amount of success in the US. But yeah, it's moved really fast. The last 2 albums all over the world, also in Central Europe and Scandinavia especially as well. So, I don't know. I think it's fact that we actually are here touring now. And I also, will give a bit of credit to Will and Andy, who works for Metalbait here in the UK, that for the last 2 albums they've done an amazing job for us. So it's really good to have those guys working for us.
How much of a hand have you had in doing the re-releases?
Of course, a lot of the stuff is, we approve everything, and like all the liner notes and everything that's in there, we wrote everything ourselves. So it's stuff that we are very much involved in. The packaging idea, of course, we approved it because we thought it was like kind of a funny idea with the pop-ups and kind of stupid, but yeah. But it's everything, of course, is important, and we feel that we need to be able to stand for everything that we release. But I think it was a good idea to have the real releases come out now, because we have so many new fans that perhaps don't have heard the earlier stuff, and this gives them a good opportunity to hear the earlier stuff in a good way.
Now, in my show, I do a section called Lie Back and Enjoy It, where basically I get whoever I'm interviewing to pick 5 songs that have either influenced them throughout their life or they just like at the moment. And it can be literally any genre you want. Example, Harry from Tweer picked a track by ABBA and a track by a-ha to go in his 5. Jace Edwards from Wolfsbane picked some Beach Boys stuff. Ginger from the Wild Hearts picked all kinds of weirdness. So it doesn't have to be metal, it can be just literally anything you want.
I mean, stuff that kind of inspired me growing up. I mean, for me, one of the first kind of, even if it's not metal, it's kind of like a pretty rough song. It's Twist and Shout by the Beatles, definitely in there. It's one of the first songs I can remember listening to myself. Yeah, but then there's a lot of stuff in there. Kiss, God of Thunder, definitely up there. I would say Hallowed Be Thy Name by Iron Maiden. It's got to be there. For Whom the Bell Tolls with Metallica. Definitely one of my all-time favorite songs. And then it's a hard pick. Because it could be anything really, from Motorhead to Slayer to like anywhere, but I think I'll have to go with a Motorhead song. And like probably my all-time favorite Motorhead song is Killed by Death. I love that song, so it's one of those songs that I listened to when I was a kid, and I love the video when you saw it like on MTV, like riding out of the grave, awesome. I love that. It's Lemmy. No. One more. I thought it was 5. Oh, it's only 4. Well, then I can say Slayer, I guess. Yeah, Slayer